Well, wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I think we've got everybody has joined us from the rating room, so I'm going to go ahead and deliver the official welcome. Uh, Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Audrey Phillips. I know I'm probably familiar to all of our incoming MBA students, but for our specialized master's students, I am the director of admissions and recruitment for our MBA programs here at the Rady School of Management. I am joined by my colleague, Emily Dayton, who those of you on the specialized master side may be a bit more familiar with, who oversees the admissions and recruitment on that side of the house. We are so glad that you are able to join us today. This is our final session, and this is for our students in the MBA programs, as well as our quantitative finance and master professional accountancy. We may have a few of our business analytics students joining us too, so welcome. We are so glad to have folks from all of our programs represented today. And I have the honor of introducing our guest speaker for today's session. John Maciana, who you have seen at some of our previous sessions as well, is our Assistant Dean of Graduate Programs here. He previously worked at another UC school and is a graduate of UC San Diego as an undergraduate in cognitive science, earned his MBA at UC Irvine, and then has come back home to UC San Diego. We are thrilled to have him share a little bit about sort of the previous sessions that we've had if you weren't able to attend. And then he's also going to talk a little bit about the importance of our teams and study groups here at the Rady School and how they are an integral part of your experience here as a student. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Audrey, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. It's so exciting to being really close to orientation. This is our last onboarding session, but we want to make sure that you all are prepared and ready to go for your Rady journey. And as Audrey had mentioned, UCSD is home for me. I loved my experience with as an undergrad student at UC San Diego, and was thrilled 2 years ago I can't believe it's been 2 years, but thrilled 2 years ago to come back to UC San Diego and help the Rady School get to the next level, because I would not be here talking with you all, nor in this role, had it not been for the outstanding education I received here at UC San Diego. So it is a great place to be, and I'm so glad to be back. So I just wanted to do a little bit of a recap. I do see that we have all of our directors here as well, Audrey and Tony and Irene and Emily. So I'm going to do a bit of a recap for any of you who have not been able to attend some or all of them that we've done so far. And I do believe if you're interested and didn't get a chance to attend any of these, we're happy to share the information with you. In February, we covered grad housing. Those are primarily for students that are actually going to live on campus. April, we had international student engagement. April, we also did campus and community. May, Tony Rohr, our executive director, led a career management session. And then in July, Irene, who is our senior director of graduate student affairs, talked about graduate student affairs and student life. And today I'm here to just give you a quick recap, some highlights of those sessions, and then we'll share my perspective and some tidbits on making the most out of your team experience here at Rady, because teamwork is very critical here in all of our graduate programs. And as you progress in management and leadership, being an effective team manager as well as a leader is crucial, and it's what you're going to learn here as a Rady graduate student. So first of all, on the topic of teams, I wanted to share with you all our team. So I oversee our graduate programs team, and we have 3 different areas. You just heard from Audrey, and she also introduced Emily. We have a unique structure here. Our admissions team is co-led. We have 2 directors of admissions. Emily oversees our master's team. Christy, Stacy, Susie, Matt, Anushri, Nancy, and Audrey oversees our MBA. Julie, Christina, Kimmy, Sophia, Melanie, and Sydney. I am sure you are recognizing several, if not more, of those names on that list, as you've worked very closely with admissions up until this point. And then moving down to the Career Management Center, Tony Rohr, who many of you probably already know. She is right here. She's our executive director. She leads a very large team. We have a coaching team, which is led by Courtney. We also have Michelle, Bianca, Bobby, Nalitza, Kyle, Kathy. We also have an employer relations team, and I'm mentioning it because you may not get to interact with everyone on our team, but there are a lot of people that are working behind the scenes to work with employers, to work on corporate engagement, to make sure that there are plenty of opportunities for you as a student to engage and get to that career that career opportunity that you're looking for. Tony also has an operations team. Leanne, Rachel, and Stephanie head up our operations team. They're responsible for a lot of the data submissions that we submit, as well as overall organization for the team. And rankings are very important. Stephanie puts together all of the data that we submit for our rankings. So it is a great team over there. Graduate Student Affairs, you're probably already getting to know members of that team. Irene Maloney led our last session. She's our senior director. We have an advising team. You're probably already getting to know them. Kevin Doyle oversees that team. We have Erica and Nancy, Jessica, David, and Josh. We also have a graduate funding and employment side as well. Many of you will want to be a TA. And we also offer, of course, scholarships. So we have a full funding and employment team. That's Ross and Cassie. You may not get to interact with these folks very much, but we also have an instructional planning and course scheduling team. As you might imagine, over here at the Rady School, we schedule hundreds of graduate classes every year, core classes, elective classes. We share electives. There is an entire team that works with our faculty to make sure that they're set up for success and that you have all the access to the courses as a student. So Alicia, Jade, and Sarah do a phenomenal job. Jade in particular has been working hard on our executive MBA hybrid option. So a lot of people are working behind the scenes that you may not get a chance to interact with as much, but they're working hard for you. We also have a brand new position. We're very excited for, and this is one that you will get to interact with, an associate director of student life. So we are recruiting for that role right now. That person is going to be running orientation, commencement, as well as overseeing the student clubs and the Rady Student Association. So we're excited to have a brand new role starting very, very soon. Operationally, Irene also has Sheila and Renisha, who are fantastic. They run the operations for our graduate student affairs team. And last but not least, we have our program directors setting the curricular vision for the program. So right now we are recruiting for an executive director for MBA. I am doing a dual role right now, so I'm filling in for that. My prior role at my last institution, I did that. So I'm very excited to roll out many changes for the MBA. As Audrey and the team knows, we've made a lot of changes to the MBA program, so we're excited to roll those out. We're also going to be recruiting for a Master of Business Analytics Executive Director. We have a wonderful Masters of Finance Executive Director, Michael Melvin, as well as an outstanding Executive Director for Master of Professional Accountancy, Jim Diet. You probably, if you're in those programs, I'm sure you have already worked with them. They're fantastic. So again, on the subject of teams, we, I think, are a great team. We actually really enjoy working together. So this is a shot of us. A couple of weeks ago, we did a team building session at UC San Diego. This is not all of us, of course, because we do, just like you all, we have hybrid and remote employees, and we're in the office and we're also remote. We have some fully remote employees as well. Audrey is one of them. So this is many of us participating in a block printing team building that we did a couple of weeks ago. So not only does this team work very, very hard, but they also enjoy working together. So we're very excited to have a very engaged team across all of our areas, and we are excited to welcome you. So that's a little bit about us. I'm just going to kind of recap here a little bit of a few of the highlights that Tony and Irene shared in their previous sessions. But we really encourage you as a student to get involved. As I just mentioned, we're going to have an associate director of student life, student experience, and that person is really going to help facilitate more with our students to make sure that you know about the opportunities to get involved. And attending events, getting involved is also how you as a student can support and show up for each other. So we encourage you to be a cohort rep. That's basically like the leader for your section. You get a voice with the administration. We do meetings regularly. Sometimes, we have cohort rep meetings with the entire program. So we encourage you to get involved there, attend events, and really show up for your students, student leaders that host events for the student community. So really show up, stay engaged, and stay involved. On the career management side, I can't emphasize this enough, but Tony has also mentioned this, but really getting a head start on your career planning is critical. There is one person that is responsible for your career outcome, and that is you. You do need to do a lot of the work to make sure that you are set up for success. We are here to support you in that process, and we really want you to stay engaged with the Career Center and really do a lot of active planning. But really, one of the things I want to emphasize here is that you really do want to have some of the career goals that you want to achieve at the outset of the program that you're coming into, whether it's MBA, whether it's Master of Quantitative Finance, whether it's Master of Professional Accountancy, Business Analytics. Know what your career goals are so that our career management team can really work with you effectively to get you where you need to go. There are a lot of events here. The Career Management Center has a very, very active calendar. That's a career fair that happened here at UCSD a couple of months ago. So you'll have a lot of opportunities to meet with employers, but make sure that you are prepared. Make sure you're prepared for those career fairs. Make sure you're prepared for any corporate presentation where you're meeting with employers. You as a student are representing Rady when you're at these career fairs as well as corporate presentations. And of course, when you're in the interview process, you're representing not only yourself, but Rady, but you really do want to make sure that you are telling the right story when you're in those interviews. I would have to say, and this is true for myself, when you come to a top program like Rady, employers are not really going to grill you on the technical components of what you learned in your graduate program here at Rady. They're going to want to hear from you. They're going to want to hear your story. They're going to want to separate you from the rest of the pack and really understand how you influence people, how you lead, where you're going with your career. You're going to really want to effectively tell your story in those interviews, and our Career Management Center is going to help you do that. So really take advantage of the resources here, but remember that it is your responsibility to really make sure that you are engaged with the Career Management Center and set your own career goals and set yourself up for success here at Rady. And there's Irene, our Senior Director of Graduate Student Affairs. She gave a session in July, I believe it was July, on student engagement and the value of orientation. I'm just going to cover a few things here. You probably have already started to recognize the template of our pre-arrival newsletters. There's one right there. There's Josh Berger, who's our Flex MBA advisor. I'm just going to mention here, I do get them every week. There's a lot of information in there. I know there's a lot of information, but please do read all of the emails that you're getting right now. There are important reminders, due dates, deadlines. We don't want you to miss out on an enrollment deadline or something like, or some sort of administrative process which will limit your enrollment in the future. So really work through and really read through those newsletters and take care of any action items, and reach out to your advisor if you have any questions. But those newsletters, you're probably familiar with them already, have a lot of great information. What are we going to be doing at orientation? Lots of different things. So we're very excited. Our full-time MBA students are going to be here a week from Monday. And our main orientation is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's September 12th and the 13th. So we're excited to do a full program for you. We're going to have informational sessions. We're going to talk about program expectations. You're going to do professional headshots, which you're going to be using throughout your Rady experience here. We'll do some team building. We'll have a Rady club fair so you can get to know what the clubs are, and lots more. So it's very, very active. And of course, most importantly, you're going to get to know us a bit more, and most importantly, get to know people in your cohorts. We've admitted an outstanding class, and you're going to get to know them a little bit more in this session as well. So I'm going to close out here and talk about teamwork at the Rady School. And it's an interesting one, because when I entered my MBA program many years ago, I did not realize just how important teamwork is as you develop and grow as a leader. And in graduate management education, whether you're doing your MBA or your Master of Quantitative Finance or a Master of Professional Accountancy, teamwork is very, very, very important. And why is it important? It is important because you're going to learn a lot of things in graduate school here at the Rady School, but there is no rule book on management and leadership. There is no rule book on how to be effective as a team. We all know that teams can accomplish more than individuals, but we do teamwork here a little bit differently because we want you to figure out what your managerial and leadership style is. And the teamwork side of things is the way you do that. We want you to figure out what your leadership style is by putting you in a small group core study team. It's about 4 to 6 individuals, and you are going to learn through your team how you influence and lead that team. And it really sets you up for success to kind of figure out how you're going to effectively lead a team in the future. And we do this very intentionally. Each team is very diverse. So you're going to be meeting with students. That's part of the benefit of coming here to Rady. You're going to be meeting and working with students from all over the world, different cultural backgrounds, different academic backgrounds, different industry backgrounds. And we create the teams based on that diversity as well. You get to meet and work with individuals who are very different from you. That is a big benefit, and it's also a challenge. In your workplace right now, you might actually be working with individuals or have an internship or something like that where you're working with individuals that are very similar to you. Not so at the Rady School. You're going to be intentionally put with people who are very different from you. And that is challenging because they are different, but you're going to learn and grow with them and give them feedback from your background because you have a unique background on how you want to accomplish projects. And you're going to learn together, and you're going to learn when to lead, and you're going to learn when to follow. So in the core classes, you're really going to get involved with your team and figure out how to hold each other accountable and how you're going to get things done as a group. And it is a challenge, but it's also a benefit because as you grow as a leader and a manager out there in the workforce, you will think back. I did. Think back to those challenges that you had with your team and how you worked through those challenges, and you will use those skills as a manager. So it's really important because teams are everywhere. Work, life, family, convincing your kids to go to bed at night is a team effort sometimes with your spouse. So, and I just mentioned this, but effective teams can accomplish more than any individual, and collaboration is key. Because when you reach the senior level in your organization, you're going to have to influence people. You're going to not only have to influence your team, but you also have to remember that part of your team is your boss. Influencing your team, your boss is also very important, and you do learn those skills in the teamwork atmosphere here at Rady. So how do we support your development here at Rady? So as I mentioned, we pair you up into the teams. We do it based on your backgrounds, your functional background, your industry, your academic, all of that. The teams are self-governing. We're not going to tell you how you work together as a team. You're going to figure that out on your own. Every team is slightly different. Every individual is slightly different, but you're going to figure out how you're going to hold each other accountable, how you're going to get things done as a team, whether you're going to divide and conquer. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. So you're going to figure out what's going to work for you. And it could vary on the class. It could vary on the team, but you're going to figure out what works and then really, take what doesn't work and modify it for the next project or the next class. But they are self-governing. You're going to hold each other accountable for your teams. And there's a lot of feedback mechanisms there. So many of the classes, you'll have team projects and you're graded as a team. So 5 people on the team are contributing to this project. Maybe some members did more work than others, but you're all going to get the same grade. Now, how does that work? What happens when there are some members of your team that don't work as hard as other members? It does happen, trust me. There's a peer feedback loop as well. So our faculty will institute that, where you can provide feedback about the individual contributions of each member of the team on a project. And that would potentially affect your individual grade. Now, what we recommend is when you have peer feedback, you want to have a conversation with your team. If there are members of your team that are not contributing as highly as others, have a conversation with them about what your expectations are. Maybe those team members don't know. They don't know what your expectations are. They don't know that their performance is not quite as high as other people. So we really recommend that you have that conversation with the entire team about the expectations, and really making sure that members know what is expected of them individually on the projects. And that is really how you develop and grow, and having those difficult conversations is really what management is all about. So practice it here. You're not going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're going to learn. You're going to have a conversation. Maybe it didn't go well, and you're going to learn from it and give feedback. You as an individual, if somebody's telling you you're not doing well, maybe you say back, I didn't really appreciate the way that you confronted me about that. So it's really a two-way dialogue. And the teamwork here is really to help you grow and mature as a manager and leader, and take advantage of it. And remember, nobody's perfect. No individual is perfect. No team is perfect. But you're going to figure out the recipes for success here, and it's going to really help you as you develop in your managerial career. So that was all I had. And just to close out here, tips for success, just 3 really quick ones. Communicate effectively. I mentioned that peer feedback loop that you will have. Really make sure that you have those conversations with your team members. Resolve any interpersonal conflict. And you're going to learn this as well. But as I mentioned, we pair you up in teams that are very diverse, but leverage the strengths of others. You're going to be working with people who are very different from you. Maybe people that you've never worked with before in your entire life. And you're going to learn how they work and operate. And you're going to learn that you have strengths and they have strengths. Leverage those strengths to help you improve your own performance, and absolutely ask for feedback. So if you're wondering how your contributions were on a project, ask for that feedback. Be responsive you, the feedback that you get, and really the teamwork side of it is fun. I am still very, very close to the entire team that I had in business school, and that was 20 years ago, but we're still very, very close. We've watched each other grow in their career. They're constant sources of inspiration for me. And even though we went through some challenges, they're extensions of my family. That team that I had in business school, I cherish. They were so great, and we learned so much together. And it's so great to see them successful at this point in their careers as well. So that was all I wanted to share. I think at this point, we're going to go to breakout sessions where you're going to get to interact with each other, as well as learn a little bit more on the enrollment side of things. So I think with that, Audrey, I'll turn it back over to you to facilitate moving.
Yes, thank you so much, John. So all 3 MBA programs are going to stay here in the main room. So if you are full-time MBA, flex evening MBA, or executive MBA, stay right here. But we are about to launch breakout rooms for both professional accountancy and our MQF programs. So you should see those pop up in just a moment. If you are part of either of those programs, please feel free to go ahead and join those 2 rooms. And we'll give folks just a few moments to make their way into their rooms. So thank you, MBA folks, for your patience. I feel like I'm not going to sing for you because I don't think you need that this early in the morning. But a little bit of the Jeopardy theme song as the rest of our other program members end up moving into their rooms.
I'm hearing it in my mind, Audrey, Jeopardy theme
Okay,
song.
good. Yes, I don't think anyone needs to hear me sing that this morning.
You can. Feel free. Or if anyone does sing, feel free to unmute
Yes,
yourself.
if anyone would like to unmute themselves and chime in, please feel free to do so.
You don't want to hear me sing either.
We could discover someone's hidden talent.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not mine. I'm
Well,
with
in that
Audrey.
case, it's not mine either, I'm afraid.
No. So great to see folks from all over the world. I'm finally now looking at the chat. China, San Diego, China. Wow. Oh, it's late China. So
Very
glad.
late. I think those
Mumbai.
are some of our earliest joiners onto the session this morning.
Peru. Wow. Las Vegas. Awesome. Fantastic.
I'm recognizing most of the names that are still in this room. A few will need to make their way into their breakout rooms. But I think we can go ahead and continue, John.
Okay. Well, sounds good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and continue here because we have our MBA students here. And Audrey had asked that I go a little bit deeper on the teamwork side of things for our MBAs in particular, because I would have to say, and truth be told, the teamwork side for the MBA program is a bit more intense. And why is it more intense? Well, it's because you actually have a 2-year program, and you have more core classes than, and I should have mentioned this prior, your core study teams are for your core classes. So about half your MBA program is based on core classes. So the teamwork is more intense for MBA just because of the length of time you're going to be working with your core study team. And I'm happy to answer questions and highlight more tips for success here. But I thought I would actually share this quick example. And some members of my team have seen this before, but I really liked it. And when I saw this research, I was like, boy, this really sounds exactly like an MBA team sort of reaction. So it's a very simple exercise, but it was based on some research that I had a chance to work with her early in my career. Kristen Bafar, she's at the Darden School. She's Associate Professor of Organization and Management. And what she did was this is her job. This is her career, is that she studies teams and what's an effective team, what's not effective team. And her research, and I'll distill it down into this one example, she basically put together a framework, and she found that teams across all industries and organizations fell into one of these buckets. Now, she's really kind of simplifying this. This is an oversimplification of teams and where they fall. But I'll go ahead and share just the one insight, which I'm sure you will definitely appreciate, because it really reminded me of MBA student project teams. But I'm going to give you the examples that she provided of the 4 different teams. And it's basically just some quotes. These are actual quotes from actual project teams. Doesn't matter which industry, which function. These are not Rady teams, by the way. They're just teams. that she studied, and she grouped them into these 4 categories. And I'll go ahead and read the quotes from what she categorized as team 1. Let's minimize the time we have to spend together. Once we get to a 3/5 majority, we can move forward with that idea. Let's divide and conquer. It will be faster than spending time trying to persuade everyone. Let's rotate responsibility for picking up unfinished work. It's inevitable that someone will drop the ball. That's team 1. Team 2. Let's agree to disagree and call it with a vote. Let's talk about how to avoid making that mistake again. If you can't pull your weight, then you'll be removed from the team. I know you have an interest in this, but Irene is a more reliable person for the job. Okay, this is team 3. Let's listen to everyone's ideas. Does everyone feel included in this decision? There are no right or wrong answers on this team. Who would like to volunteer to take the lead on this assignment? And then finally, here is team 4. Just ignore the fact that John is condescending because he has a point. I suggest Audrey take the lead based on her past experience and skill at facilitating. Let us know if you will be late, and we'll put you later on the agenda. You don't have to agree, but do you understand why we have decided on this course of action? So this, to me, sounded like a lot of MBA students that I've worked with. So my question to you, and I'm going to launch the poll right now, is a very simple question. What team would you want to join? That's it. Just out of these 4 teams, which team do you want to join? What makes the most sense to you? And we'll go ahead and share the results. Ooh, lots of different answers here. Audrey, which team would you want to join? Oh, you're muted, Audrey.
Let me bring myself off mute for that one. I think it's a tough call because there's at least one comment in each one that doesn't quite sit well with me. But I think, well, obviously I should go with team 4 because I'm going to be taking the lead in that one, right?
Just hypothetical, by the way. These are hypothetical.
That's a leader if I've ever heard.
With that, Christina?
I'm kind of just joking around. Never mind.
I am too.
I see Julie there. Julie, put you on the spot. Which team would you prefer?
I picked team 2 because I feel like the one point that I wasn't super comfortable with is one that I could live with.
Could live with. Okay. Okay. Well, I think we're close here. So I will go ahead. I don't think you can see it yet, but you will be able to see it. So I'm going to share the results. You can see it, right? You can see the results? Okay. So it looks like we have students here, and maybe our team as well, that that there were at least a few that were interested in team 1 and 2, and the majority looks like team 3, which is interesting as well. And there were several on team 4 as well. So, but 57%, Audrey, Tony, Christina, Julie, I'm seeing you on the screen there, chose team 3. Okay, so you know this is coming. Here are the axes. And this is her research. She was looking at member satisfaction, goes from low to high between team 1 and team 3, and then team performance, that side. So it goes from low to high. So high team performance, high team satisfaction, team 4. Team 3, high team satisfaction, but maybe not the best performance. And in her research, she, again, this is an oversimplification of basically grouping a lot of teams into these four categories. She found overall that 25% of teams fall into team 1, 10% fall into team 3, 41% fall into team 2, and 24% fall into team 4. So that was her research in terms of studying hundreds of teams, lots of individuals across, but she really had some great points about, yes, it's very, very important to be satisfied on your team, but there's also ways to be more effective as well. And she actually kind of gave some tidbits to her research, and I summarized her research into just 1 or 2 slides. But the top predictor for success, she found, is a team that can resolve conflict. So, and that was, I think, the big difference between team 3 and team 4. While team 3 was very satisfied with each other, they may not have been productive because they weren't willing to have those difficult conversations. And what she recommends is that you separate conflict from the delivery. Like the example was that I was too condescending, but had a point. So you're too aggressive, but I like what you're saying. So really kind of separating the person from the message is the way to kind of get through some of the personal conflict and focus. That was her point. Focus on the disagreement without focusing on being disagreed with. So really not, and essentially what she's saying is you're trying not to take things personally when you're trying to get something done on a team. Differences among teams members are to be desired, absolutely. Just because somebody thinks differently than you, you want to always try and figure out, why is this person thinking this way? What do they want to achieve? Just really always trying to put yourself into somebody else's shoes can help when those situations arrive that are conflict, but that are conflicting. But teams that can work through conflict, have a discussion, tough discussions can outperform others. But this research has been used. She used astronauts, nurses, military, executive leadership teams that have too little conflict. That's also a problem. When you have too little conflict, it can also create some issues, but it can definitely work for you too. And I really related to this because I found my team in all 4 of those buckets as a business school student. But we definitely did move into team 4. Took some time, but we moved slowly into that area. But effective teams, high performance and high satisfaction, how do you get there? Dealing with interpersonal tension effectively. And member skills are matched to their level of participation. And that's a kind of an important point that she made as well, is recognizing the individual contributions. You may be really strong on the technical side, and you have somebody in your team that is not, and they may not put as much time as you do into their part of the team project, but it's about looking at things equitably, not equally. Maybe they spent, just as an example, you do all the technical components of a presentation and they actually do a beautiful job creating the presentation. It doesn't mean that it's not equal work. It's just different kinds of work. And so being very appreciative and recognizing different talents is very, very important as well. I remember that very well. I was one of those technical people. We had one person on our team who just did beautiful PowerPoint presentations. And I mean, while she wasn't like, super into the technical side of things, I mean, it was just, she was laying out all the information in a very engaging way. And we really appreciated that. So, but being able to foresee problems and preemptively providing solutions is important. And of course, it goes without saying, but communicating effectively and really having a dialogue when things don't go well and how you want to change things going forward. Successful teams always exhibit these traits. Number 1 right there is be professional. Always be professional. Once it gets to the personal side of things, it can be a little unprofessional. So always be professional in addressing conflict and addressing issues. Set clear goals for every assignment. Be very clear about what you want to achieve. There are some teams that are like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to get this goal. And there are some teams that go, I want to get an A in every class. That's up to you and your team to decide whether, what kind of expectations you want to set. But be upfront about challenges, celebrate successes. You definitely want to, don't just always say, hey, we got an A on that assignment. Celebrate your successes. Mourn failures, not for too long. And really, I think I've mentioned this before, but use your strengths to help others. You are the only you on your team. You're going to have 4 or maybe 5 others that are very different. You are going to bring your unique skill set to the team. You have something to share that the other members of your team do not share, and others vice versa. Leverage those strengths of others because it can help you improve your performance. Seek feedback, be responsive, but ultimately it really does come down to this. Teamwork is really fun. Once you hit that stride, and I will share with you, the first couple of quarters is challenging because you're getting to know these people, and trust comes over time. It took me several quarters to even figure out, like, I can trust these people. These people know what they're doing. They're really, really good. It doesn't happen right away. So I recommend just spend time with them, however you want to. I mean, you can meet as a team virtually, you can meet in person, whatever works for you and your team, but get to know them personally, professionally as well. It just really helps when you find that base and really develop that trust. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And we're here to help. Absolutely. We have worked, Irene and I have worked with teams that have experienced conflict, and we are here to support you. If you ever want some advice on issues, challenging, dealing with team members that aren't performing the way that you want. We're here to help you. Your advisor is here to help. So there's plenty of resources. Go to your program director, come to us. We're more than happy to sit down with you and have a conversation and help walk you through some tips. And we're going to provide more resources for you as well. But it is a great and probably one of the best parts of your MBA journey here at Rady is to get the most out of your team. So really do have a lot of fun. I know I did, but that was really all I had on this topic. I don't think that we have any other slides, but happy to, at this point, open it up for dialogue. I'll stop sharing. And if we want to ask questions, any questions you have about the program, I see Tony's here. I see David is here. Your advisors are here. Our careers team is here. Feel free to fire away any questions you have for us.
And feel free to either unmute yourself if you prefer to raise your hand, or you can always drop it in the chat as well.
See almost our entire team here today. So GSA is here. Our admissions team is here. I see Christina and Sophia and Julie. So any questions you have? Any folks really concerned about the team process? It really is fun. Trust me, it's really fun.
I'll ask a question.
Go for it.
When will we find out who our team is, and then when will we start actually working together? Will that be the start of classes in September, or will that be the pre-term session?
It's so right before your very first class, which for all MBA students is MGT 406. We're really excited about that class. It looks amazing. So you're going to find out, I think our full-time MBA students are going to be finding out at their orientation, which as full-time MBA starts on August, I believe, 26th. So we're going to be announcing the teams at orientation because the class starts the next day. But you're gonna find out just shy of your of the start of your MGT 406 class, and it's intentional because during MGT 406, I'm giving away a little bit here. You're going to actually work with your team on a team contract, how you're going to interact with your team and how you're going to hold each other accountable, norms for behavior, what happens if a team member is late, doesn't show up, things like that. You're going to work out your standards for how you're going to operate as a team. That is one of your big assignments in MGT 406. So you'll find out your team very close to the start of the program at orientation or just after. I recommend get together with your team. Get together with your team before classes start and chat with them personally and get yourself set up for success. But it'll be right before your first class. And I see Christy has a question.
Hey, good morning, Christy. I registered for classes, but I wasn't able to find any books associated to those section IDs yet, or the title of the course. When will the books become available?
So,
or are there no books?
Oh, yeah. So all of the course materials are provided to you via your Canvas course. So once they are procured, our instructional support team that John described earlier, who was working hard behind the scenes, that's the work that they do, is working with the UCSD bookstore to get the electronic course materials. And again, those get put through the Canvas course as your and given to the students who are enrolled in that course. So at a later date, but it's coming.
Great question, Christy.
Hi, I have a question. So I'm curious, in your experience, research aside, what trends have you seen that have set up that successful teams have done to set themselves up to really hit the ground running?
Well, I was just mentioning something that I personally think is really important is to get together outside of Rady. So setting aside time, and it can be virtually. It absolutely can be virtually. I know that our executive and flex evening students have very busy schedules. So setting aside some time to get to know each other, doing some, if you want to, we're going to have some team building at orientation for you to get to know each other. But setting aside time, if you can meet in person, going out to dinner, happy hour, things like that, just getting to know each other personally is very, very, very important. Because I think the biggest thing or the biggest challenge that new teams face is developing trust. And because it's very different here in graduate business school, in that and the biggest difference I would say is that, you know, in undergrad or master's, in most master's programs, you and you alone are responsible for the work and then ultimately receive the grade based on the level of work that you put in. Here at Rady, it's different because you've got more work than you can handle. So as you know, as an individual, you're not able to you just can't possibly do all the work yourself, and that's intentional to get you to really kind of figure out how to be most effective with your team. So just spending time with them, I think, is the biggest advice I can give to start building up that trust and really giving some feedback and spending some time with that charter. That it is very intentional. MGT 406 is a great class. It's all based on leadership. It's really focused on individual leadership, but I know that the instructor, and we talked with the instructor, he's going to spend a lot of time on teams and managing through conflict. Really take your time on that charter. And one of the other things, and I know Irene will agree with this, revisit that charter. Revisit the charter that you develop. You're going to develop a sort of a norms for working with each other and how to hold each other accountable. As you go through the program and you learn and develop, things may change. Your expectations may change. Your team's expectations may change. Go back to that charter and revise it, and make sure that everybody is in agreement with any changes that you make. We've had students that want to revise their charter and don't want to consult with the members of their team. That does happen. So really having a very open dialogue about your expectations and be open to the changes that you're going through will really help set you up for success. But really, it just comes down to communication, just always being very communicative with your team about what your expectations are, and especially when they change, super important. It's a great question.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Shifa. I have a question. Do we have the same team throughout the MBA, or
The core.
does it change?
The core classes. So as I'm sure you all know, everybody is going to chart their path to success here. So you may pursue a certificate, you may pursue 2 certificates, whatever you want to do. On the elective side, your team is probably going to not take the same electives. So once you get to your electives, that's when the teamwork splinters and you basically form your own teams on all those electives. So you keep your team through the core. You start taking electives actually pretty early on here, which is great. So very early on in the program, you'll have a couple of electives to start exploring with. And that's your time to really expand and work with different people. But you have a foundation of how to work effectively with your core study team. And I would say that core study team really becomes an extension of your family by the time you're done with your core classes. But you start getting into more diverse teams when you get to your electives. And you choose them completely.
I had 2 quick questions. One's about scheduling and one's about the assignment before we start on the 26th. We're supposed to identify 10 to 15 people to send an email to write a quick story about us. And it said there was a Canvas email template to use for that. I was wondering if that was actually available or how we actually find that. I didn't see it in there. And then the second question was just scheduling wise on the 30th of August. I saw there's a Career Management Center virtual alumni panel at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was wondering if that was actually virtual or if that's if that has to take place in person at Rady.
I can answer the second question really quickly. On August 30th, we are doing 3 virtual alumni panels for the full-time MBA students as part of orientation. So it's from 9 to 12. And they are 3 panels and they are completely virtual. So you do not have to come to campus that day.
And I can correct the full-time MBA schedule to make that designation. I can see now that was unclear.
Thank you, Irene.
The first question, could you ask it again? I'm so sorry. Is this for MGT 406? Is that assignment to find 15 to 20 people?
I believe so. I can go back and look at the email. But I got an email in my UCSC email that said to identify 10 to 15 people.
Okay.
And there was yeah, okay.
I'm pretty
So
sure
that-
that's MGT 406. Yes.
Yeah. If you could email David, your graduate program advisor, with the question, we can look into it. I'm just not quite sure if the Canvas course, if you've been added to it. I know that the course is built, but I'm not quite sure what's in it. And maybe that's where the disconnect is that perhaps you're not in Canvas yet.
Isaac, are you checking if you are on the Rady campus versus the UCSD campus? Because there are two separate ones. And our classes are actually on the UC or the Rady campus.
Okay, that's probably where the disconnect is. I'll go back and look at it again.
Yeah, and if you're still having issues, feel free to email me.
Okay, appreciate it.
Your instructor for MGT 406, he's wonderful, by the way. He is a partner at Deloitte, and he's an outstanding individual. He has a really robust class for you for MGT 406 with a lot of amazing guest speakers. If he is available, I believe he will be there for full time, hopefully, for orientation. So if you have any lingering questions, I do know that he has quite a few assignments that you need to complete before the class. If you have any questions about those assignments, I believe he will be there at orientation. So, and I'm gonna set aside some time for him. So if you have any specific questions, as for full-time, the class starts the next day, but feel free to ask him. And if you have any questions ahead of time, I believe his contact information is already published on Canvas, right, Irene? So feel free to email him directly if you have any questions about those assignments, but he is outstanding. We're excited to have him.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I have another question. This is Jason. So when we compare the total credit to finish this MBA degree to previous cohort, the credit number has dropped from 92 to 80. I think most of the students also want to know if there are any major course restructure or just a course decrease compared to last cohort.
No, the cost is the same between prior cohorts and this cohort. We have done that for a variety of reasons, but mostly because our flex evening and executive MBA students have a strong request to graduate earlier. And so we made that change primarily to do that.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. For the first weekend that the EMBA students have to be on campus, the end of September, I will be out of town. How early or how soon do I need to reach out to my professors to, I guess, plan for that?
Are you out of town? Are you talking about the 14th and 15th or the 28th?
Wait,
The 28th.
The 28th,
okay.
29th. Yes, I'll be here for orientation.
Okay. I do believe you should be working with Christina Cook on any absences for the fall quarter. I think she's here if she wants to give any information.
Sure. Yeah, Cynthia actually sent you an email about that, but I'll resend it. Most of them would like for you to contact them really right about a week before the class begins, but I will go through that and make it really clear. I know there's a couple other students in your position, so I will resend it to everybody.
Christina.
So I also, that's a great question, Cynthia. So I just wanted to echo, that's going to come up, particularly for our flex evening and executive MBA students, where you are going to, you have jobs, you have very, very important jobs and family lives. It may not be possible for you to attend in person every single weekend. That is okay. Our faculty understand that. They are flexible. They are going to work with you. But you do need to be upfront. They don't want to know a day before that you're not going to be there. I mean, sometimes that happens and it's okay, but being upfront about the challenges that you have will help them, and they do understand, and they will either give you alternate assignments, allow you to, some will, some won't, allow you to remote in if you can do that. Some will, some won't. It just depends on the instructor, but they will tell you what to do to make up for not being there on a weekend or an evening. But just being very upfront about that is very important. The other thing to not forget is to tell your team when you're not going to be there, to make sure that they can take notes for you if you're not going to be there, or if you're going to miss a big presentation and not going to be there, how you're going to contribute to that. So not only do you want to make sure that you tell your faculty, but also make sure you communicate any absences with your team as well.
I have another question, and this might be for David. I saw in one of the pre-arrival newsletters there's something called MBA Radiant workshop that's happening. I think it says we either do it Saturday for full-time MBA, at least Saturday the 14th or Saturday the 21st of September. I was wondering if you could just talk about like what that is and then how we'll be sorted into one of those dates. Like if we're unavailable for one, or can we just do either of those dates, or is there kind of a set number of people for each one? How do we register, that sort of thing?
I'm happy to take that actually. For full-time MBA, you just have the choice. So pick which one works for you. So it's either Saturday the 14th, 1 to 5 with our executive MBA students, or you'll take it on Saturday, September 21st at 8:30 to 12:30 with our Flex Evening MBA students. Perhaps you're just a morning person or an afternoon person. That might help you choose. It is a workshop run by one of our professors. I've never taken a Radiant workshop, but it is a programming language. And so the workshop is set up to get you acquainted with it so that you can be successful in your classes.
I think I should also mention, because it was a little bit fuzzy to both Irene and I, that there is a math and programming boot camp as well, analogous to Radiant, taught by the same instructor, that is not required, but there is a quiz that is used in MGT 403, your quant class, your very first course after MGT 406. It's taught in the fall quarter. There is a quiz based on that class. So reviewing that material, going over it is going to help you. It's a quiz. It's basic math, but there is a quiz that is associated with that boot camp that's being provided to you.
I have a question. Hi, this is Justine. So I'm sorry, are you referring to the boot camp that we got the email for that has the 5 cases that need to be completed prior to class? Is that what you're referring to? Okay.
Irene just put it into the chat. Thank you, Irene. We are trying to resolve any confusion so that you are not confused. But if you are confused about anything, feel free to reach out to us.
And I just want to say, to access that document about the boot camp, you do need to be signed into your UCSD SSO. I get a lot of requests from folks in their personal email. It is available to anyone within the UCSD organization. So just make sure that you're logged into your UCSD account to see the Google Doc.
And for those of you who may be...
I did have another question.
Go for it.
I was trying to install Radiant. This is kind of on that same tangent. And I went to click the link that was like, make sure you are within the, your laptop meets the requirements or whatever. And I tried to sign into that and it said my account didn't exist. And I was on my UCSD email.
Hey, this is Heather. I can also second that. I have the same exact issue.
Where are you getting that link?
Is it on the page of case 5 of the boot camp?
Oh, it's within the boot camp.
Oh, I wonder if that's...
Yeah.
Can you please email? You can email me, and I don't know if the professor needs to give you access or if it's an IT issue. So you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat, and I'll just I can't fix it, unfortunately. I'm so sorry, but I can get you to the right person who can help fix it.
Thank you, Irene.
Okay, yeah. I had a post saved for Piazza and I just hadn't got that far yet.
I just have a quick reminder for the Flex students. If you haven't done so already, please fill out the form for the orientation materials. The link is available in the last 2 newsletters. Thank you.
I am just excited to hear that you're already starting on the assignments. Our faculty will be very, very pleased to hear that.
I have another question regarding the parking. For Flex evening, we will normally come on Tuesday and Thursday in the evening. So do we need to purchase any parking permit at UCSD?
No, so you can if you want. So graduate students are free to purchase a parking permit. However, there is a flexible parking program at UCSD. Actually, many staff use it because we also don't come to campus 5 days a week. And so what you'll do is install the Park mobile app. The information will also be in one of your pre-arrival newsletters. But you can, if you just sort of go to the UCSD Transportation Services website and look for the Park mobile information, that's where it'll show if you use the app. Every time you come onto campus, you'll have to just make sure you're logged into the app with your UCSD SSO. And you'll have the opportunity to enter in a code and just pay per day that you need to park on campus, as opposed to buying a permit, which is good 365 days a year.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Xiaowei. I have two quick questions. First is, when do we have the exact schedule of the orientation days? Because maybe one of the days I may not able to join or go. And the second question related to WES course verification, because I left China many years ago. It is very tedious to get the course, verified. And how will that, it may take another 1 or 2 months to get everything done. How will that impact my enrollment?
I can answer the first question. The orientation schedule, the detailed schedule will be emailed out. It's either in 1 or 2 weeks. I can't remember what the cadence is, but just as a reminder to everyone, full-time MBA, we're going to see you in less than 2 weeks. You have been given that schedule. We'll see you all on Monday, August 26th. We're very excited to have you here. For our executive MBA and flex evening MBA students, you all will be here along with our full-time MBA students on September 12th. And 13th. You can expect programming all day on both of those days. It's a Thursday and Friday. It will include opportunities to meet our entering students from all of our graduate programs, along with an all MBA social, along with also a club fair. So really meaningful programming on the 12th and 13th, the Thursday and Friday of September. Our executive MBA students, you will continue into Saturday, September 14th. I'm looking at the schedule, and again, we have programming planned for all day that Saturday from about 9 to 5. So you can plan to be here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the 12th, 13th, 14th, all day. For our flex evening MBA students, in addition to the Thursday and Friday, the 12th and 13th, you'll then launch right into class on Saturday, the 14th, and you'll have that class the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. All day, 8:30 to 5. So hopefully that gives you enough information. I think that general outline has been given to you previously, but please, reach out to your graduate program advisor if you have some questions about the general outline of orientation, but the detailed orientation schedule will be emailed to you soon.
Very helpful. Thank you. Yeah,
you're welcome. Your other question, I think, was about degree verification.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Josh, do you want to take this, or would you like for me to answer?
Feel free, Christina.
Okay, so David, I know we've chatted about this. I know it can be really hard to get those transcripts out. Nothing will impact your enrollment or anything like that right off the bat. We'll be able to get you enrolled for fall classes. The graduate division is the group that is requiring the WES course by course evaluation. So they will still be waiting for that. I think the gal you may have spoken to probably shared her experience. But you will need to, accomplish that. I know it can take many months, and they're willing to work with you in that respect, but it does need to be done eventually. I think if you don't get it by the time you're ready to graduate there, the university will not give you your degree, but that should be plenty of time. I know it's hard for a lot of students, but they somehow manage to get it done.
Clear. Thank you. I'm in the middle of this. I just don't know how long it will take because I registered their website and submitted all the things. It's just, come back and forth kind of thing in the future, uncertainty. Thank you.
Fully understand. Not pleasant, but it won't impact anything with your classes or anything like that right away.
Just wanted to, go ahead. There's another question.
Sorry, I wanted to jump back onto the Radiant question. So if you're a flex student where you didn't have an option and you can't make it to the Radiant course because you're going to be out of town, what are the options to make that up?
This will be the last question I answer because I do have to drop off for another meeting. Reach out to your graduate program advisor. I do believe the workshop is going to be recorded.
Yes. Yes.
And so we'll make the recording available to you in your cohort's Canvas page. And so you'll just need to watch it at a time that you are available. Just again, we're just hoping to set you up the best that we can to start classes. But it was a pleasure chatting with all of you, and I look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Irene. And I'll just go ahead and close things out now, but we're happy to stay on longer. We know that many of you need to go to work or it's evening, so need to drop off. So we're excited to see you in the next few weeks, but we will stick around. I don't know if you can, Audrey, Tony, Christina, Sophia, David, Josh, but we're happy to answer more questions if you have them. But thank you for coming today. We're excited to see you in person at orientation, full-time MBA, August 26th, and everyone on September 12th. But thank you for coming today. Have a great weekend.